WECU 1570 AM and W298BX 107.5 FM, Winterville, North Carolina.
Hello, good morning,
Good
Pitt
morning. Good
County, and
morning.
welcome to Pitt Perspective
Yes,
on Awesome
sir.
Radio. Good morning, everyone. This is the show where we break down the stories, issues, and ideas shaping our community. And this morning, I am going to be your host. I'm AY, and today I have Patrick as my co-host. Patrick, good morning. It's
Good
good to see
morning. Good
you.
morning. Good morning, Ewa. As y'all can see, we do not have, or as y'all can hear, my apologies. We do not have Vic with us in studio. Victor is
Yeah.
not with us in studio. But don't worry not. AY and I got this. We
Yes,
got
we
this.
got this.
Hey, good morning. Today, I'm excited for today's conversation. We've got a big topic,
Mm-hmm.
the rising cost of living in Pitt County. Is it still affordable? What's changing and what can be done? We're breaking it all down today.
Yeah. So like Patrick said, we don't have Victor in the house this morning. Is actually at Greensboro this weekend presenting at the North Carolina Association of International Educators at NCA&T University. So Victor is not with us here in person, but I mean he's still with us in spirit,
Yeah,
if I
it's
must
yeah,
say.
but that's the spirit.
So, but we're going to dive in straight into the show for today, and I want to assure you that you guys are going to have an awesome time on Pit Perspective this morning on Awesome Radio, and this is Awesome Radio 107.5 FM and 1570 AM WECU, and you can call us on our studio lines 252-756-2008. So when it's time for the community part of it, we'll let you know, and you can call in to share your views on this topic for us. So this is your show, and you are free to get on it because it's we are here for you. We are here for you. This is Space Perspective. So get ready to have a wonderful time on the show this morning. And the topic, like Patrick said, still remains: is Pitt County still affordable? What has changed? And what would you also like to change in terms of prices? Do you think is okay? Do you think what we have currently works? Or do you think, there are things that need to change? So call in and let us know, right? So
Absolutely,
yeah,
folks. This is your show too. We
yeah,
want to hear from you as always. We always want to hear from you. This is
yeah.
our show and it's your show too. As AY mentioned, the number is 252-756-2008. Call in and let us know. Do you
Yes.
think Pitt County is still affordable? What changes would you like to see in housing and rent prices?
All right, so let's get into the news straight away. We have some couple news here this morning, and I will start with the first news headline, which says the city of Greenville is now fully enforcing its new downtown parking plan. So everyone, heads up, if you're parked longer than 2 hours, you need to move to a separate parking,
Y-
okay, or
y-
else you will get fined.
Yeah, the city of Greenville is parking plan is taking full effect with time enforcement. The city of Greenville is now fully enforcing its new parking plan, and violators may be at risk of a fine. I mean,
Wow.
the plan allows people to park for free for up to just 2 hours in city-owned lots and on-street parking. That is in city-owned lots and on-street parking. After 2 hours, patrons are asked to move their cars to a different spot in a separate lot or face a fine.
Yeah.
The parking plan took effect earlier this year after the city council unanimously approved the proposal during their January meeting. But the city offered a buffer period for residents to get used to the new rules.
Wow, this this sounds very new and strange. Well,
Yeah.
but I mean, like they said, it's for to encourage business and increase turnover in business areas, right?
Yeah.
The city officials are also saying that there's going to be like a technology like license plate detection system to be used to enforce parking. So I think the idea is to help increase turnover so that people don't overstay in some areas, so that new people can come in and
Yeah.
park and do business in those areas. And then of course there are a few exceptions. So the 4th Street parking garage will be free for patrons for 2 hours, but there is a 75-cent charge for each individual hour in the garage. Okay, so we're still going to continue with the news, but this is still us, Pete Perspective on Awesome Radio. We'll be back shortly. Don't go anywhere.
So
Hello, my name is Hayden. Thank you for listening to Awesome Radio, 107.5 FM, 1570 AM, WECU.
Hi, this is Maxine, and I have a dream.
Okay, welcome back to Pitt Perspective on Awesome Radio 107.5 FM and 1570 AM WECU. And we are still here on Pitt Perspective. And you can call us in on our studio lines 252-756-2008. 252-756-2008. So we're going to continue with the news now. Whichever one you think interests you, you can call in and give us your thoughts and your opinion. And of course, our big topic for today, we'll get into that very shortly. Okay, so we'll go on with our news updates. NC Senate OK's border hurricane recovery measures. So the North Carolina legislators are closing in on legislation to provide more funds to help the mountain recover from Hurricane Helene.
wow.
North Carolina State Senate Republicans passed a disaster recovery measure on Wednesday to direct $535 million in additional spending to meet still pressing needs from Hurricane Helene's historic flooding and destruction last fall. But it also locates more relief funds for earlier storms. So this is not just for Hurricane Helene alone. Even earlier storms, they are going to get some form of relief, which it's a very good thing to see. And the legislation that cleared the Senate's budget writing committee on Tuesday is wider in scope than a $500 million relief package approved unanimously last week by the House. That focuses on Helene's destruction in western North Carolina. So they're trying to expand it. So it's not just Hurricane Helene that would people that were affected by Hurricane Helene that would get that kind of relief. So the bill will return to the House for final agreement before it heads to the governor. And we are hoping that this is they see this through to the end, and this is a very, very good idea. So
Yeah.
let's keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, let's
on
keep,
on this one.
let's keep
Yeah.
our fingers crossed and make sure that they're doing a great job in helping the people affected not just by Hurricane Helene but also the other hurricanes. Moving on, Pitt County schools are expanding modular classrooms. Anyway, what do you think about that?
I mean, it's timely and it's very urgent and important because from what we've been able to gather, we see that there are schools that are overcrowded. Okay, so that is why they are going into this, and I think it's a very laudable project. So Pitt County Schools, they're working on some short-term solutions to accommodate growth, while long-term options are being weighed, right? So the Board of
Yeah.
Education on Monday voted to purchase an 8-classroom modular unit to be added this summer to the campus of Eastern Elementary School. Executive Director of Operations Aaron Erickson told the board last month that the school needs additional modular classrooms due to continuing growth in student population. Now, Eastern, which was renovated and expanded in 2010, added modular units in 2023. However, Eastern is the second school is in the district that has been identified since January as having a need for additional modular units. So this is actually very important, because when you have overcrowded classrooms and things like that, it affects the learning process, right?
Yeah,
So
it
a
really
modular
does.
classroom addition could be ready for students at Pactolus after they return from this month's spring break. And
wow.
Erickson said in an interview on Monday, adding that the unit being set up at the school is one Pitt County Schools already owns. So
Oh,
they're
okay.
just trying to add it up now. Okay. So he says let's say that Pactolus could require a second modular classroom addition this summer, depending on enrollment. Now, the cost of the new units at Eastern is about $735,000,
Oh, wow.
including
That's a lot of money.
including the down payment of $32,410. And then the board members agreed on a lease to own purchase option that will cost about 14,300 a month for 5 years. So
Yeah.
both Eastern and Pactolus are currently above the capacity recommended by the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction. So according to a school district report on capacity, Eastern had 834 students, which is more than 130 students above recommended. Wow, 130.
Wow. Yeah, I think we
That's a
mentioned
lot.
we mentioned it like two
Yeah.
in our radio show, like our second radio
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
We mentioned that too. That it's like 130 students.
Yeah, that's
That's
actually a lot. And then by the 20th day of the current school year, Pactolus had 644 students, which is 19 students above capacity.
yeah, 19
mean,
students above
That's
capacity.
that's
Yeah, so
that's
I
that's
think
actually
so. This thing for the new e-classrooms is a
yes,
must-have
yeah,
thing for them.
and it's coming at a very good time too.
It is. It
So
really is because having 19 students over is a lot. It's a
and
whole
then
different classroom.
and
too.
yeah, do you get
Yeah, it's
and
just
then there's 130 students above recommended capacity, in at Eastern. That's actually a whole lot. So I think it's coming at a good time now that we have this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we should moving on into sports now.
Yeah.
This is my favorite topic,
Yeah.
talking about sports, anything related. Moving into sports, men's basketball. The Pirates hold on to a 78-76 senior day victory over Charlotte. This is a very good game for the seniors because it was very exciting to see them play
Yeah.
for the last time for the Pirates, and they made us proud, didn't they? They made us proud. A 78-76 win. RJ Fulton scored a whopping 27 points as East Carolina survived a last-minute comeback attempt to defeat Charlotte 78-76 on Sunday afternoon inside Williams Arena at Minges Coliseum. Jashane Woodard added 14 points and 5 rebounds, while Jordan Riley had a double-double with 13 points and 11 rebounds for the Pirates, who will have their first winning season since the 2012
Wow.
13 year. How this is really amazing. Nick Grace led Charlotte with a game high of 32 points. And this whole, the game it was like, sitting there and watching the game. It was, after a slow offensive start from both teams, Charlotte jumped out to a 19-14 lead with under 8 minutes to go in the first half before the Pirates went on, 11 point to nothing run.
Wow.
Led by a fury of points from Fulton to go in front, 25-19 at exactly the 3:20 mark. The Niners closed the gap before the half as a second chance basket and a score of a Pirate turnover tied the game at 27-27 going into the break. Yeah, it was very at the very climax. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was tied. And then after Charlotte scored the opening basket of the second half, the Pirates took control by outscoring Charlotte 21-7 to take a 12-point lead with 13 minutes remaining. ECU maintained its double-digit lead most of the way down the stretch of the second half, but Charlotte found they found a way, to keep things interesting, cutting ECU's lead to just 7 points with 1 minute 14 seconds to go. After a miss by ECU, Charlotte had one last chance, to tie or win the game, but Woodard was able to bother Graves' game-winning attempt just enough, and Fulton secured, the rebound and for the win for the
that was a
Pirates.
slim,
Yeah, it
it's
was.
slim.
Yeah, it was
You know,
very.
so I didn't see this particular game.
Oh, you didn't?
Yeah, I
Okay.
didn't. But the last time I was there for the game, it was something similar too. I mean, towards the end, and then they were leading. I mean, ECU started leading at the beginning, then they took over. Then towards the ending, ECU came back, and it was huge. I mean, it's always interesting to see a comeback game actually when
Yeah.
it looks like you're going to lose the game, and then you keep pushing and you fight and you win.
Yeah.
It's always. I mean, the victory feels better that way.
Yeah, it
Even though
really
during
is.
the game itself, you feel some form of tension,
Yeah,
right?
it's very
But I mean,
nerve-wracking,
going
yeah.
down into the wire, it's actually very very exciting.
It really is. It really
Yeah,
is.
and then I think the last news I have here this morning is on college baseball. So Pirate beat Virginia Tech 6-1.
Wow.
I think it's just victory for this
Yeah,
week.
go Pirates. Pirates are shining this year. They really do, including the
Yeah,
football too. Our
yeah.
football season was really good too compared to last year's. So I'm like, yeah. So what's with the baseball?
Yeah, so we'll get into the baseball news just after the break. We'll be going on a break shortly, and when we come back, we'll give you the roundup of the college baseball news. Don't forget that this is still Pitt Perspective on Awesome Radio Network, and Awesome Radio Network is 107.5 FM and 1570 AM WECU. We'll be back shortly. Don't go anywhere.
I am Miss Mary Cox. I'm Killer Thigpen's mother from Awesome Radio.
Grandparenting isn't for the faint-hearted. More from Dr. Ken Canfield.
Sadly, too often grandparents watch their adult children's lives get off track due to relationship problems, addictions, or a whole host of other issues and just poor decisions. And of course, the grandchildren are greatly affected. Sometimes grandparenting feels like a balancing act. We don't want to enable our adult children in a destructive habit or lifestyle, but we do want to love and protect our grandchildren who don't deserve the difficult situation that they're in. And often, we're at the mercy of the parents who own the responsibility of raising our grandkids, even if they aren't handling it well. The balancing act can be frustrating, but don't give up. Stay faithful and stay engaged. Your consistent presence and love are very much needed. Thank you for listening.
Welcome back. Welcome back,
Yeah,
everyone.
welcome back.
This is still Pitt Perspective on Awesome Radio Network, 107.5 FM and 1570 AM WECU. And we are here this morning. And don't forget, before we round up the news, we'll be discussing very shortly our topic for this morning, which is the rising cost of living in Pitt County. We want to know if you think there has been a major change in prices generally, and of course price of rent and things like that. So stay around, don't go anywhere. Very shortly we'll get into that. But before we went on the break, we were discussing the news.
Yeah, we were discussing the news
so-
on college baseball.
Yes.
Pirates best Virginia Tech 6-1. So East Carolina put together a great show. One of its best performances of the season in all aspects of the game. On Sunday afternoon, picking up a 6-1 victory over Virginia Tech to close out the Leclerc Classic inside Lewis Field at Clark Leclerc Stadium. With the victory, ECU finished, the round robin event at 2 to 1, while the Hokies and Kent State also won 2 of 3. The Pirates shut down a high-powered Hokie offense that entered the contest battling .351, limiting the visitors to 5 hits, of which 4 were singles. Conversely, East Carolina collected 8 hits, including a double by Brendan Burgers and a 2-run home run off the bat of Alex Bush, but opened the scoring in the 5th. Ethan Young turned in another fantastic outing in the middle of relief, earning his first victory in a Pirates uniform by allowing just 1 earned run with 6 strikeouts in 3.1 innings.
Whoa.
Yeah, Brett Pruitt locked down his first save with an identically long effort during which he scattered a single hit and struck out 6. Grant Manning, who's 1 for 1, was settled with the loss after surrendering 3 runs on 4 hits with no walks and 9 strikeouts in a 4.0 frames.
Wow. I mean, I heard that ECU is a baseball, school.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is huge for ECU.
It really is.
And generally, the sports it's been great. It's been winning. Football has been good. Basketball also. The news we read last, there was a win. I mean, I think it's an exciting thing to go into the spring break with this all of these victories. So
Yeah, it
we are
really
very
is.
excited for that. Now, like I said earlier, we will be getting straight into our discussion for this morning. So if you're just joining us, this is Pitt Perspective on Awesome Radio Network, 107.5 FM, 1570 AM WECU. And we want you to call us and join in the conversation this morning. Our studio lines are 252-756-2008, 252-756-2008. So if you are just joining us, I would like you to join us in this conversation and let's hear what you think. Is Pitt County still affordable? Do you think there's a significant change in the prices? Do you think they're going up or do you think they're coming down? Whichever way you think it is, let's hear from you. And what do you think could be done, to make things better? So we know that you have opinions, you have thoughts on these things, and we would really be happy to hear from you. So let's get straight into rising costs, right? The topic, like I said once again, is affordability in Pitt County. Rent prices, mostly are going up, and groceries are, getting more expensive.
Yeah.
There are new developments and the changing landscape of Greenville in particular, and of course Pitt County. So we are looking into it. Is Pitt County? Do you think this is still affordable? So let's just get straight into the conversation.
Yes, sir. Like the apartments used to be what, $700 a month, and now it's well over $1,000 a month. Rent prices are climbing while wages are not keeping up. Why is this happening?
I think it's a mix of population growth and of course new developments.
Oh, okay.
So this is going to give rise to inflation normally, right? So there are more people coming into Pitt County, and we'll still talk about. Oh, we have a call.
Oh, we have a call on the line.
Hello, you're live on air on Pitt Perspective on Awesome Radio Network. Good morning. Who do we have with us here?
Hey guys, good morning.
Oh,
Good morning. Who do we have here?
This is Steven in Winterville. I think you know me with the Bucks Brigade at the Greenville United game.
Wow.
Yeah,
Good morning. Welcome.
Steven.
It's
How
good
you
to have
doing?
you here.
Yeah, how you doing, Steven?
I'm very well, guys. I'm very well. Just enjoying the show this morning, hanging out with the family, listening to you guys, and agreed. It's a great week to be a Pirate. A lot of wins.
Yeah, it really is. So, Stephen, the question of the night is the cost in Pitt County. What changes would you like to see? Do you still think Pitt County is affordable? What changes would you like to see in housing and rent prices?
Yeah.
I guess so. In comparison, I think anywhere in eastern North Carolina is going to be somewhat cheaper than surrounding areas, of course. Having said that, just looking at, I've been here for closing in on 20 years.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, just rent skyrocketing. That's nothing new. I think it's not to the point where I don't know if local government needs to get involved with possibly rent control situations. Because of course, like I've already stated, we're not as expensive as other areas. If you go up north, if you go out west, but at the same time, it's kind of alarming, and it's kind of as a homeowner, it's just kind of what do you do if if we move, we can almost double our profit from what we paid in the house in around 2010, 2011.
Wow.
But the question after that is where do you go?
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
So if I'm
Because
hearing you
it's not just
correctly,
me, it's everybody else that's double the value as well.
Wow. So like I said earlier, if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying that, relative to other places, it's still like affordable. Yeah, is that what you said?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
but
yes.
but compared to where we're coming from, it's going up.
Sure.
Wow, that's actually another interesting perspective, another interesting way to look at it. Of course, we're looking at it relative to other places. Thank you very much for calling in this morning. We are so glad to have you, and we're sure you keep listening to us, and of course, join in the conversation. Thank you very much for joining us on
Absolutely.
Pitt Perspectives
guys.
this morning. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a very interesting way to look at it. So just not looking at it from the angle of increasing prices, and there's a part of it where we look at the connection to other places, relative to other places, and then we now look at, okay, where we're coming from, how has it gone from there, like how the prices have progressed. So if you're just joining us and wondering what we're talking about, this is Pitt Perspective on Awesome Radio Network, 107.5 FM, 1570 AM WECU, and our studio line is 252-756-2008. We want to hear from you, so call us and share your thoughts on our topic this morning, talking about cost of living and rent in Pitt County. Okay, so call us. Let's know what you think about rising housing costs, increase in rent, and economic changes around here. Right. So, Patrick, back to what we were saying before the call was coming in. So it could be a mix of different things. So we're looking at what is causing this kind of increase, right? So look at it first of all. U.S. inflation rates is still about between 2 to 3%. But compared to, say, this time last year was probably about 4%. So the inflation rates are dropping, right? Okay. But at the same time, it still doesn't. It's not a zero inflation right? So it means prices are still rising. It's just not rising at a very alarming. At that rate it was say this time last year, but prices are still rising. So that is in place, right? So we're looking at how it's affecting the general pricing of things. This is on the macro level, and then we'll bring it to our own context, that is Pitt County. So it's affecting us too here. We'll have to go on a break now, and when we come back, we'll get back into the conversation. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hello, my name is Daniel out of Greenville. Thank you for listening to Awesome Radio, 107.5 FM, 1570 AM, WECU.
From the Pacific Justice Institute, this is The Legal Edge, defending your rights as a Christian, a parent, and a citizen.
Company challenging Obamacare's contraceptive mandate. The mandate forces the business to violate their religious convictions by covering abortion-inducing drugs in employee health plans. Well, Pacific Justice Institute asserts that the First Amendment guarantees every American the right to live and operate their business according to their faith. To learn more about your rights, download a free copy of Faith in the Workplace at pji.org.
PJI provides legal representation without charge. Get exclusive email updates by registering for The Legal Insider at pji.org.
Welcome. welcome back. This is Pitt Perspectives on Awesome Radio. Do not forget to call us on our studio lines 252-756-2008. Before we went on for the break, we were talking about, the rising cost in Pitt County and what y'all think. Call us and let us know what y'all think. Call us and let us know what y'all think. Actually, we did share this post on our social media handles.
Yes.
And we had people sending comments, sending their concerns. And hey, AY, do you?
Yes. So if you are not following us, what are you waiting for? Follow us on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, X at Pitt Perspectives. So we always drop these questions there. You can share your thoughts and join the conversation. So we will always have us there, and then we can, share our thoughts. And we've gotten a lot of people's reactions on this particular topic. So I'm going to read some of those comments here now. So Melissa Turner says, I just wish we didn't stick apartments in every little spot possible, especially if it's a congested area that can't handle the traffic. So I think Melissa is coming from this angle of congestion, right?
Yeah.
So she's talking about, almost everywhere you turn, there are apartments popping up and things like that, and then it's in turn affecting, the traffic situation, which is true. Because I remember I left Greenville, for example, very briefly. I went to Raleigh last fall for like I think about 2 months. And by the time I returned, I noticed that there were like lots of cars on the road. And like the first day I talked to Dr. Ziga and told him, like, I just noticed that there's been like a large and you might not notice if you've not left. And you come back, you'll be like, wow, this looks different. This is strange, right? And then we started paying attention to it, and we realized that this is true. Like, there are a lot of people in Pitt County and of course in Greenville. So I think that population increase, it's with what is necessitating this, apartments popping up everywhere, because these people will need places to stay, right? So I also think that what they can just do, I mean, for the city planners to make sure that the apartments that are being, the new apartments that are being built in good places where it doesn't affect the serenity of the environment in any way, and it's not leading to any form of congestion in some certain areas. So spreading things out and making sure it's properly planned, right?
Jabriah Barnes also mentioned that it's really not affordable. Rent is in the 4 digits range, and you still gotta make like 3 times the rent. And jobs are not even paying enough to make 3 times the rent, and you have to almost have a perfect credit score to survive. That's what she mentioned. So I think she's coming from the perspective of having a credit score, and rents are going high, and most people on average have 1 job, and since rent is almost like 3 times, you're not having 3 times the number of jobs too. So it's not, the math is not mathing in that. And it's like,
and talking about source of income, the next comment I have here says, that's from Kayla Dixon, says, not for a single income. You literally need at least 2 incomes to pay bills and live comfortably. So I want to ask you this morning, Patrick.
What's the question?
How many sources of income do you have?
How many sources? Just one. Just one.
Do you even have up to one?
That's true.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
but I mean, like coming from that angle, like you really, because the truth is prices are going up,
they really
and the income is not necessarily matching up. So that is a serious thing to think about, because now people who could afford a certain thing some say years back, for those who are still earning about the same amount or just maybe a little above what they used to earn, would not be able to afford some of the things they could afford some years back. And that's one of the dangers of inflation, and it's affecting the entire thing, not just rent, price of groceries and things like that. So I mean, like this person said, it's important to see it from the angle of income and how much you're earning. It's going to determine things like this too.
Yeah, Michael, Fitzgerald said that he's lived here for 8 years.
Wow.
And prices have definitely gone up in the city. Stephen also mentioned that it's hard to say, since they have tripled property taxes.
Okay, wow, really that's another way to look at it. So homeowners are saying that property taxes have been increased, right? And then they have lots more to pay in property. So that is going to create that ripple effect
Mhm.
and trickle down to people paying rent, right?
Yeah.
So property taxes are going up, and it said triple.
Yeah.
That's serious.
Yeah, it
And
really
then Michael, who has been, I mean, I've been here for just barely 2 years,
Yeah.
and this guy has been here for 8 years. So he's saying that prices have definitely gone up. So compare, I'm trying to imagine what it would be like 8 years ago,
Yeah.
and to put some some context to this thing. So, for example, I mean, in Lagos, we don't pay monthly, we pay
Oh, okay.
rent yearly. I don't
Oh,
know
okay.
what about in South Africa.
Oh well, there's we pay monthly for the most part, but
Oh,
you can
wow.
also pay per year, and they make it cheaper for you. So say you pay for a year, they give you like a percentage off. If you get
Mhm.
like if you pay for like a year in advance, I think it's like 5.4 or 9.5%. It's somewhere in the range from five to
Yeah,
it ranges
wow.
from about 5 to 9% off if you pay like a year in
Yeah, in
advance.
advance. Wow. Well,
Mm-hmm.
for us in Nigeria, we
Mm-hmm.
we pay yearly. So
Oh,
you pay it
okay.
at the beginning of the year,
Oh wow.
and you pay it all at once,
Oh, okay.
right? So when we begin to compare things like that, you want to look at how much is the cost of rent, for example, where I come from, where it is here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you translate that, for example, in rands to dollar,
Mm-hmm.
it might look like it's not much, but then again, you have to put context to it. So, for example, you want to look at the purchasing power parity of where you're coming from,
Yeah.
and how that translates
Mm-hmm.
into the prices there, and how you can put it side by side with the prices here. So you can't just throw the dollar at it and be like, oh, you're not paying much. But then again, when you look at it in the context of where you're coming from, it changes the entire conversation, right? So if you're just joining us and you're wondering what we're talking about, this is Pitt Perspective on Awesome Radio Network. Our studio lines remains 252-756-2008. 252-756-2008. We want to hear from you. What do you think about the cost of living in Pitt County? That is housing, cost of rent, and other economic changes around here. If you have something to tell us about it, we know that you want to share your thoughts with us. So call in and let us know what you think. Okay. So I have another comment here from one of the people that shared their opinion and thoughts with us on our social media platform. And by the way, if you are not following us yet on our social media platforms, you need to get on that train.
Yeah.
So it's at Pitt Perspectives on all social media platforms. So this is from Dina Mirello. Okay, she says rather, no, not really. NC is one of 19 states in the whole United States where Fed minimum wage is only 7.25 per hour. Wow.
Yeah.
That is unbelievable.
It really is.
Salaries are not enough to afford housing. Additionally, property taxes skyrocketed last year, and mine increased by 88,000. Wow. Along with insurances and grocery prices and taxes on groceries too, making living here unsustainable. Wow. So I think this is the second person talking about property taxes, right?
Mhm.
The first person, which was, I think, that was Stephen Addison. He said it has tripled.
Yeah.
And I think Dina is actually confirming that
Mhm.
property taxes have really gone up, and that is creating that ripple effect, trickling down to everyone. You're going to feel it. It's in a way. So that's actually a way to look at it, right? So this is something that is very, very important. I think it couldn't have come at a better time that we're discussing this topic this morning.
Yeah,
because
that's
a lot of people listening to us, I'm sure some people are like, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, this is
So
what I've been
if
waiting
you
to
are
hear,
feeling
yeah.
that way this morning,
Yeah.
please, call in this morning on 252-756-2008 and share your thought with us if you agree with us or you think relatively. And I was actually coming to that too, looking at so I was going to ask you too, what do you have you lived anywhere outside Pitt County since you got here?
No, I have not actually. I have not lived anywhere
Oh,
outside
okay.
Pitt
But do you
County
have
since
people
I've
living in other places?
Not per se. I know one or two people, but no, I haven't really looked at the cost. I mean, I know it should be way more. I know one person in Washington.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, so I think it's more expensive over there because
Oh.
Washington's a bigger state and
Yeah,
yeah,
yes. So I have someone that stays in Maryland.
Oh, okay.
And I know somebody in Florida. I also know someone in Raleigh, of course.
Mhm.
And then comparing the prices
Mhm.
in those places,
Yeah.
obviously it's more.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I remember a friend of mine was sharing this story with me, I think during the last fall.
Yeah.
We were just having that conversation. He was actually relocating somewhere else, and it was like, oh, he has a friend staying in Maryland too, who they actually earn the same amount every month.
Oh wow!
But then by the time he pays his own rent,
Mm-hmm.
he still has, more left than his other friend.
Oh wow!
Who is they earn the same amount because they
Yeah.
do the same job,
Mhm.
but his rent is way more than his own. So
wow.
relatively comparing it to other bigger places in that sense,
Mhm.
it looks like, oh, it's affordable. Then again, but we want to look at it in the context of where it is coming from. So like people
Yeah.
have said now,
Mhm.
we've heard from someone who has been here for about 8 years,
Yeah.
saying that, well, from where we are coming from, it has gone really, way up. And that is something to look at. So we're not just looking at it relative to other places. Yes, we know that it might look affordable. That's a good thing too. And that's important to also note, because this is an age where we have remote jobs on the rise, right? So it means that people can live anywhere and work, wherever they want to work, right? So I'm sure a lot of people will look at a place like Pitt County and say, if I'm working remotely, I don't have to stay in Maryland, for example, where I pay that high when it comes to rent. I can come to Pitt County, come to Greenville, and just live here and work from here, and then I don't have to pay as much rent.
Yeah.
So what that will lead to, which is very interesting, is the fact that, in a sense, it might attract more people to come into Pitt County, which is good. Population growth, that's also one of the metrics that the Department of Commerce look at when they are rating counties by their tiers, right?
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense. However, one thing that we need to also note is the fact that when more people are coming and the population is rising, prices will go up because demand is going to increase.
Mhm.
So when demand goes up, price will follow, right? The law of demand of supply. That's quite straightforward.
Yeah. So the economics in you is coming out.
Oh yeah, that's true. I almost forgot. So, but yes, I have a master's degree in quantitative economics. So
Okay.
I almost forgot that. But yeah,
Yeah,
let me
the
leave it to.
the economist in AY is coming out. He's doing his thing. He's giving us his economist perspective. I'm moving. More comments from the people that share their thoughts with us on their social media. By the way, you should follow us if you're not already doing so on all platforms at Pitt Perspectives. Sarah J mentioned that she said she said, quote, my understanding is that prices have been influenced by the student apartments, where rent for one apartment is priced per room, meaning if one goes for 1,000 a month times 4 rooms, it factors into appraisals. Coming from Raleigh, where I paid over 2,800 for a 2-bedroom downtown, which was actually low for the area. I am a bit surprised at the homes wanting 2,000 to 3,000 a month.
Wow.
I realize with apartment amenities factoring in, however, there is a much larger disparity in income from this area to the triangle. And even if one makes $15 an hour, it's not affordable for a safe and clean place.
I think
to
we
live.
have a caller on the line.
Oh, we have a caller on
Good
the line.
morning. You are live on air on Pitt Perspective on Awesome Radio Network. Who do we have here this morning?
Who do we have on the line? This voice sounds very familiar. Who do we have on the line? Oh, Victor!
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us. How you doing, Victor?
I'm good. Are you guys listening? Right?
Yeah. We're doing good. We're doing good.
Yeah, great show. Really great to actually listen in on the show too. Great conversation for sure. Shout out to Steven too from the First Brigade.
Yeah.
We've been to many of Greenville United games in Wilmington and everywhere really. So yeah, shout out to Steven. Yeah. So the cost of living, right?
Yeah, Vic. So the question is, is Pitt County still affordable? We're seeing rising house costs, increasing rent, and economic changes. So what do you think? What do you think?
Yeah, it's all relative too. Pitt County. Remember we mentioned on the show the other time that I think Greenville was ranked number 1 city for Gen Z renters.
Yeah.
Right. I know. AY is an economist. And,
yeah.
It's demand and supply.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's just
he's an amateur economist. I'm yeah, but I mean, it's demand and supply, and then again, it's all relative. So places like Raleigh, expensive, and I think also it's also, I guess, the distinction in the kind of apartments, like student apartments,
Yeah.
like
Mm-hmm.
4x4 versus like two single rooms apartments, like family apartments, even things like utilities, like if you're staying in a student apartment, you get your utilities and the rent. You don't have to pay utilities, your
Yeah,
bills
yeah,
separately.
that's true.
You get what I mean? But if you stay, in a place that's not a student apartment, you get to pay rent and then also pay utilities differently. So
Mm-hmm.
those things, add up to the prices. But I think generally, I mean, I feel like generally around the world, prices are going up and not down, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's still relatively affordable, compared to
So
other
yeah,
areas.
other places. Yeah.
You know, yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's a very interesting. Like you mentioned, I think one of the comments we read earlier, from Sarah J, had
Mm-hmm.
mentioned that the students' apartments, paying per room, and then by the time you aggregate it, it's
Yeah.
it's it's a lot more. That, and she thinks that that's actually a factor too. Like it's in
Right,
some sense
right,
affecting, yeah, the cost of.
right.
What do you
Demand
think
and
about that?
supply. Yeah, I think it's true. I mean, really, I'm not just living student apartment. So one of the things I am interested in is, I mean, as you all know, is rural economic development. And
Okay.
if housing is still an issue,
Right.
can you believe that?
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, housing is still an issue. Yeah, in this
Right.
county,
Yeah.
affordable housing especially. So again, demand and supply. So I mean, interesting. And then compared to back home, like you mentioned, we pay rent, at least in Nigeria, we pay by the year.
Yeah.
And sometimes some apartments will demand that you pay 2 years at a time at least, which is interesting.
Right.
But I think generally, and then with this county growing and marketing itself as a destination, and a lot of jobs are going remote, so that means you
Yeah.
can
Sure.
do the jobs anywhere. I
Anywhere.
think
Right.
it can be even attractive, more attractive for for renters to come in, bring the money, and do their work from Pitt County,
Yeah.
wherever the
Yeah.
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 road is around the world too. So that's also an interesting factor too.
Mm.
Huh?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Yeah, man, great conversations, man. Great
yeah.
conversations.
Thank you for joining, finding a way
Yeah,
to still
yeah.
join in this
Shout out to
morning.
you guys too, and shout out to Miss Akila too.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, shout out to you. But y'all
Yeah.
don't miss me so much. I'm
Nah,
awake.
nah,
Don't worry.
nah.
We got you, Vic. We got you. You here with us
All
this
right,
morning,
man.
as we mentioned.
All
All
right, man.
right.
I'll see you soon.
Yeah, see you
Have a
soon.
good one. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right, if you are just joining us, we are still live on Pitt Perspective on Awesome Radio Network, 107.5 FM and 1570 AM WECU. And we've been talking about, cost of living in Pitt County and other economic changes around here. And our studio lines are 252-756-2008. So if you're interested, I don't know how much time we have left, but I mean, you can still, try to call us in and let's hear from you. So, like Victor and Sarah said, it's actually very interesting to look at the dynamics of students living, right? So, when I was in Nigeria, I schooled in a college town, and college towns are like where the major attraction in those places are like the schools. They're like probably the biggest things there.
Yeah.
So and where I schooled in Ife is similar to what we have here in Greenville. So we have ECU and we have the hospital. So these are the major attractions, and they will always, attract more people to come in, right? So it looks like rent is cheaper relative to other places. However, Pitt County is growing, and we are very glad to see it. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe this is just one of the prices you will pay for development, right?
Yeah.
Because when things is developing and place is growing, more people are interested. They want to come in, and what happens is that when more people come in, the demand will rise. So
Yeah.
more people will have to, they will have to create more housing units for people, and then there will be a ripple effect on prices of things around those places. And we'll have to go on a break now. We are still on Pitt Perspective on Awesome Radio. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
I am Miss Mary Cox. I'm Killer Thickpen's mother from Awesome Radio.
I'm Miriam Neff with New Beginnings. It's easy after praying for peace to look around and give up hope that our prayer will be answered. Our country continues to be divided. Red states, blue states, border issues, budgets. Our country's leaders slashing and bashing each other as I hear today. Even in friendships and gatherings of believers, many have heard harsh words, including in their families. The book of Acts tells us of strong Christ-following leaders clashing. Lord, help us to live based on truth. Heal our wounds, mend fences, and build bridges. Only God can bring peace. Hebrews 12:14, pursue peace with everyone. Romans 12:16, as much as lies in you, be at peace with everyone. Keep praying.
This feature at widowconnection.com.
All right, welcome back to Pitt Perspectives on Awesome Radio Network 107.5 FM, 1570 AM, WECU. And we've been discussing rising housing costs, increase in rent, and economic changes around Pitt County. Do you think it's still affordable, or do you think relative to other places, you think it's still all right? And we've had a very rich conversation this morning, I must say. Yeah. And we are now on the home stretch of this show for this morning. So we're going to be diving straight into, some financial tips or things that we think, could be done to make this thing better. But before we do that, I think we still have one comment from one of our people that engaged us on our social media platform. And by the way, once again, if you have not followed us on social media at Pitt Perspective, on Instagram, on X, on Facebook, please do that so you can also be part of these very rich conversations that we have. So please go ahead.
So Eric mentioned that it's not DC where he comes from. He mentions, and I quote, "I'm from Adams, Morgan, and Petworth, San Diego, Normal Heights, where I lived twice. It's ridiculous rents out here. My first apartment here, Third and Woodlawn in 2012, was only $400 for a small one-bedroom, and now it's around $800, which is crazy. The city has changed a lot, and you can still find places fairly easy. The grade around Forbes Street, an area around Jolly Roger, but paying $1,200 to $1,500 for a one-bedroom here is crazy."
Wow. So imagine someone who was paying $400 in 2012 now has to pay $800, right?
Just after 13 years.
That's a stretch of time, really, for that kind of change. But then again, I think this is even still on a very much conservative level, considering the increase, because I'm sure there are other places that have experienced this. Is a lot of this is about 100% in terms of increase. Like this is double.
It's more than 100 actually, because it went from 400
to
1200.
No, I'm looking at he said 400 to 800. That's about double the
but
price.
Then
that's about.
If you went downtown to around the Jolly Road, just like 1200.
Yeah, that's
more than 100% increase actually.
For just one.
For one bedroom apartment.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's
and so I can understand where a lot of people are coming from, with what they think about this whole thing. And so we're going to just look at some things so maybe I should put it out to you. What do you think could be done, to make this thing better? Because we're having this conversation and it's quite interesting. But then again, do we have any suggestions? Do we have anything that we think could make things better in the long run and make things more affordable around
So folks, this is why this is your number one show. We don't just give out the problems, we also try to help talk about the problems and come up with tips as well. So today we have a few tips for you, a few financial tips and solutions for, affordability in Pitt County. The first would be to, look into first time home buyer programs. Those are really helpful. You should consider
Yeah,
those.
because for those, yeah, true. For those who are making buying homes for the first time, it's more of to encourage them to do that, and then maybe there's some form of relief or some leverage or something for them, to make it easier for them. I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
Yes, sir. And our
Yeah.
second tip is consider credit unions for better mortgage and loan rates.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
what do you?
I mean that makes sense really, considering the fact that it is going to make it easier for people who are trying to buy homes or trying to get into homes. It's going to make things really affordable for them, and it's going to release the stress for those who are trying to get homes. But then again, these are just some of the things that we think could be done. I think we should just move very quickly to the events coming up this week. So the first one we have this for this show today is every Sunday there is a vinyl swap event in Greenville, and you can grab your favorite records and come out to Pitt Street Brewing Company, which is on 630 South Pitt Street, Greenville. The time is 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. So you can just bring yourself and meet some music loving, groovy people. Outside food is welcome too. So you can bring your food, and then there's no swapping necessary. Just showing off your favorite spin is fine, right?
Yeah,
So
and
that makes sense.
there's also a March Classic Film Club at the Farmville Public Library, and the location is in Farmville Public Library, and the time is 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. The address is 4276 West Church Street in Farmville, North Carolina 278 828. Come watch a great old movie on the big screen in the auditorium with movies like surround sound. Bring your own snacks and drinks and comfy chair too. All are welcome, and no registration is required. On March 10th, they'll be showing On Dangerous Ground, which was a 1951 movie.
Wow.
Yeah, starring Robert Flaner and Ida Lupino.
Yeah, I'm actually I'm a film person, if I must say. I know,
Yeah.
for those who know, I actually attended a film school while I was still in Nigeria, and this is actually very fascinating to me. I think I would try my best to be at this event at Farmville, this Sunday. It's very interesting, and when I started, learning films, I was told to watch a lot of old movies. So I saw movies like Citizen Kane, I saw movies like 12 Angry Men, and I don't think I've seen On Dangerous Ground, but I mean 1951, it looks like it's going to be something very interesting for someone like me to be part of. So for everyone who's been listening to us, this is Pitt Perspectives on Awesome Radio Network 107.5 FM 1570 AM WECU. It's been an amazing show this morning. I mean, even though we didn't have Victor live in the studio, we still, although he called in at some point, and we still had an amazing show. Thanks to you for listening and for calling in to share your thoughts. Follow us on all social media platforms. We'll see you next week.